Welcome to the Gump Report. You never know when you're going to get. I believe this is episode 38 or 39. I can't be sure which one it is. Either 38 or 39, I don't know. This is being done on the day of Money in the Bank. So, Slammiversary is already come and gone. And this is my thoughts on what if Thunder Rosa works for Impact Wrestling. Now, I got to say a couple of things before I get started with Thunder Rosa. I saw the comments. Thank you for anyone who left comments. Thank you. Now, I wasn't sugarcoating any comments. I made it very clear. I made it very clear my thoughts on this Slammiversary. I liked it. In many parts, I loved it. But as I said in my videos, which no one brought me to task, and I'm not saying that anybody doesn't disagree with me on what I think. Everybody's got their own opinion. But you guys gotta admit, right now you don't see bumpkiss from Impact Wrestling or New Japan Pro Wrestling. Nothing. You got only 2 stars from Impact on AEW. And those same 2 stars went to New Japan Pro Wrestling, which you didn't see shit of. You didn't see nothing. You saw bumpkiss. This is going along with Thunder Rosa. Because this is going to cover NWA as well. Because it will be mentioned if, and this is if Thunder Rosa works for Impact Wrestling. When it comes to a wrestler or wrestlers working in multiple promotions. Now, understand, this is not unprecedented. They used to do this a lot back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. This is not an undone thing. This used to be commonplace. Now, because of how constricted pro wrestling industry is, and I know people will say, oh, come on, there's independent promotions out there. They're not the same as WCW, the original ECW, which was Eastern Championship Wrestling, WCCW, WWWF, and all the others that existed, like USWA. There was tons of a whole bunch, and sorry for the noise outside, there were tons of other promotions that had very strong showings on whenever there was television or just basically being in an arena or a small venue. There were tons of them. And people went between one to another. Some did multiple shows like Ric Flair. He was the NWA champion. So he went from one promotion one week, another promotion another week, another promotion another week. He would cycle through all the promotions, which could be 30 or 40 promotions. That's how they used to do it. He would be seen on one promotion one week, another one. And he would be contracted under NWA, but they had an understanding between all the other promotions that if you're affiliated with our champion, you get him there. So when you see this situation, 100% going back to Impact Wrestling, who used to be a part of NWA TNA. If any of the old style fans knew, NWA and Impact Wrestling used to be NWA TNA back in the early 2000s. 2004, 5, and 6. I believe I think 2005 into 2006 is when Impact Wrestling TNA at the time broke away and had their own story, their own champion, their own everything. They broke away from NWA. Now, going back to what I said about New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW, there is a stark difference of how things are being done. Now, normally, years ago, if you wanted to know a wrestler from another promotion, you had to find a way to get a videotape or some type of media so you can watch them, because not all the time you could see something in Georgia in New York City or vice versa in Connecticut. You had to either know someone in that area or buy a videotape that was brought in from that area. Now, with social media being as developed as it is very easy to see people from other promotions, even in other countries' promotions, and you could have something there. When it comes to Impact Wrestling, because covering a Thunder Rosa, this is going to be a question if she is really part of Impact Wrestling, which I don't think she is. This is a one-off. Maybe she'll do it again at another time, because understand, at any time, Impact Wrestling can bring in a wrestler who is not contracted to them and do a one-off or several tapings, and then they're gone. So you never know, in the next couple of weeks, we're going to see Thunder Rosa on TV for a couple of weeks because she was willing to be taped at Impact Wrestling. But now here's the question about what's going to happen to her in NWA. Will they mention her at Impact Wrestling? Will Billy Corgan or William Patrick Corgan, who used to work at Impact Wrestling, who was screwed? Oh, this man tried to save Impact. Whether you agree with his tactics of trying to buy the company or try to get a piece of the company from Dixie Carter or not, he legitimately saw there was a major problem with, and I've been saying this for so long, management sucks. When it came down to it, he was trying to save Impact Wrestling by trying to buy a part of it or try to get the entire thing from a Dixie Carter, and it didn't work. He left and he went and purchased NWA to do whatever the hell he wanted with. You can say a lot about Billy Corgan or William Patrick Corgan, the great star of, what is it, Pumpkin Spice, I can't remember the name of his band, Pumpkin Spice, I can't remember of it, I'm sorry guys, I was never a fan of him. So yeah, I've heard his music now, but I don't remember the name. But the point of the matter is, when it comes to him and how he was burnt by Impact Wrestling, if she started working there, would they mention her? Now mind you, they at NWA, they're the type of people that will mention what's going on with any of their stars. So her going to NWA and then AEW, she's being mentioned there. That is a rival promotion. So it's a good possibility that they will mention her at Impact Wrestling. But do I believe that he would want to work with Impact? I don't think so. As long as some of the people that are still there that gave him trouble, I don't think... This is a hard one to say. Because I'm thinking about a long-term thing when it comes to Thunder Rosa. Because this is what I thought. If Thunder Rosa works for Impact Wrestling as coming by show basis, in other words, when they have a tapings, they call her, she comes in, she works in a storyline they have, and then they air those tapings. Because that is how Impact does it unless they start doing live shows again. So when she's there, maybe they want to do some type of storylines with her. Maybe they'll do a storyline where she's all by herself, a rogue, and she goes through the entire women's roster of about 12 to 13 women, and then she makes it to Dana Purrazzo again and tries to challenge for her title at Bound for Glory. That is a possibility. Or, there's another. Because of how her character is, because she's a Mexican who is from Tijuana, from the grave sites of Tijuana, she can either go one of two ways if she doesn't do Rogue. She can go with Fire and Flavor because, yeah, she may be Mexican, but she would fit in Fire and Flavor. She would. You got one Puerto Rican and one black woman. So who says you can't have one Mexican go with them? She kind of did that when it was in NWA. With Marty Bell. With Melina. She did it. So who says she won't work with another Puerto Rican, another Spanish woman, a Puerto Rican, and a black woman? There's nothing wrong with that. And she got the attitude of someone from New York, or better yet, someone from California, which, yeah, there are differences when it comes to the attitude and the slang of New York compared to the attitude and the slang of California. But baby, you know a Californian who is from the hood could talk to a New Yorker from the hood, and there are some stark differences of the attitude. But they get along. They'll understand one another when it comes down to when it's time to get meshed, baby. That will happen. So Fire and Flavor will work for her. But then she could go through decay. As someone who comes from the grave sites of Tijuana, Mexico, she would be considered maybe the Spanish version of the undead realm. That's the best way to say it. That could be the Spanish version of the undead realm. And Rosemary's daddy could say, you know, I have a good friend who works in the other part of the undead realm, because there's several versions of the undead realm. She could say, there is my dad's part. There is another part that has the really spicy side. And there's the one that has the attitudey side. It's saying the black side, and you got the Spanish side. There you got. There's always a different side of the undead realm. You can never be bored there. That is what a Rosemary could say. And she could be enticing a Thunder Rosa and say, need to be with us, honey. We are decay. We are your family. Just because you are from the other undead realm does not mean that our undead realm is not any good or any worse. It's just the same. And we all here care about each other because we are part of decay. There you go. She could go through that route. So she has 3 easy different routes if she goes and works for Impact Wrestling on a taping by taping basis, or she has a contract like most Impact wrestlers who will work for Impact, but their contract is open so they can go to other promotions and work like ROH, New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW, NWA. She could work anywhere she wants if she gets a contract. But this is the thing that I have to make clear again. And from what I just stated, I'm sure a lot of people say, oh yeah, we got a Rosemary working with a Thunder Rosa. We're going to get some good mess. Guys actually think Mickie James is back. She is not back. She may do a couple of matches if she does it at all. Remember, she's the vice president of NWA working with her husband, Nick Aldis. She is not back wrestling full time. One of my subscribers said, she's working full time. No, she's not. She's a vice president of another damn promotion. I know you're theorizing. I know you're wishing for it. But I'm going to give you a little bit of honesty here in the Gump Report, baby. I'm being honest here. You are not getting a Mickie James working full time. She is a vice president of another company where it's trying to put on a pay-per-view for women in August. She is trying to go to other promotions, like I said weeks ago, where she could go to AEW and do a just walk in, do a cameo. People will go ape shit that she's on AEW and say, I want the best women in your company. She checks Jade Cargill. She checks Britt Baker. She checks Nia Rose. She checks Rio if she's there. She checks Hiro Kushida. She goes around and talks with the women in AEW if they do it right and try to promote Empower for August. That light flickered. That is what I see. That is what would be good for her. She's done an Impact. I'm sure she's going to do a couple of tapings trying to entice maybe a Rosemary, maybe a Havoc, maybe Fire and Flavor, maybe a Su Yung or Kimberly when Kimberly is not dead or beaten by Su Yung. She's going to talk to them. She may even go to ROH and she's going to talk there. But if you actually think that that woman is now full-time wrestler for Impact Wrestling, baby, you lost your damn mind. With no disrespect, I understand. I would theorize myself what she would do in Impact Wrestling. What type of angles would you get with a now Mickie James who was insulted by Dana Purrazzo saying, get that trash ass of yours out of here. Get your trash bag ass out of here. She didn't say it, but that's what it comes down to. And you could have a storyline with that. You never know what type of storyline you could actually build with a Mickie James, who is a legend and can still go her ass off at 42 years old. She got a great pair of boobs. She's still gorgeous in the face. She's smart. She can do promo segments, and she will bring people in. But she's not a full-time wrestler. She's a wrestler who is a vice president of a company that will work periodically at different companies when she's in the mood. And I will commend her if she does that. She should not be jumping to Impact Wrestling and be a full-time wrestler. In the condition the company is in, hell no. I don't want to see a Mickie James full-time at Impact Wrestling. I know I know some of you are going to say, what? Are you kidding? Don't you want to see her there? No. Because I know that Impact's writing team sucks. I repeat it again. They may have gotten Slammiversary done well, but they suck. Tell me I'm wrong about them sucking, because they suck. Like I said, when it came to Thunder Rosa, if she went to New Japan Pro Wrestling and she was a contracted worker for Impact, do you actually think you'll see the footage of it? No. If she's working for Impact Wrestling, and would you like to see her on AEW? Well, guess what? We haven't seen Rosemary in AEW. We have not seen Havoc on AEW. We have not seen Fire and Flavor on AEW. We have not seen Su Yung, who are probably good with the Dark Order, on AEW. All the women that everyone I've been seeing for months saying, oh, it'd be great to see these women on AEW working with Rio, working with Nia Rose. Well, no one said Nia Rose, but you know what I mean. Like Britt Baker, Nia Rose. When it came to Big Swole, when we haven't seen her in a while, she's probably on Elevation and Dark, where she should be back on the main roster again of Dynamite. Because I did like Big Swole, even though she wasn't that great of a wrestler. She had a good personality. But the point is, every fucking star, sorry for my language, every damn star of Impact Wrestling since last year, because it's been going on for quite a while, guys. I mean, Impact Wrestling had not been great since last year. What happened with Tessa Blanchard really messed everything up. And when Taya Valkyrie left, that really hurt people. We needed Taya Valkyrie, but the problem is Taya has done everything in the company. She's gone through everyone because there was no women there. She's gone through every person in the roster. They never brought any new women in, no matter if they were well-established wrestlers or they were old veteran wrestlers or brand new wrestlers. They never brought them in. They never changed up the storylines. It was garbage. Garbage, other than Tessa Blanchard, other than when it came to Taya Valkyrie, and maybe a little bit of Rosemary, which was a little bit. And finally, Dana Purrazzo. What have you been seeing of the women? Nothing. So I would not want a Mickie James full-time on there. She will end up like ODB, and I don't want that. Flat out. And I'm not even saying ODB is one of the greatest women wrestlers there is. She's not one of the greatest women's wrestlers, okay? ODB's not. She got a great ass, great pair of tits, a sweet attitude. She can talk pretty well. She did have a very good character, 2008 into 2012? Particularly what happened with her and Eli getting, I think it was 13, they got married? Or 12, I can't even remember when they got married. It might have been 2014, I don't remember. But the point is, she had a good character at certain times when it was booked properly. What did they do with her? Nothing. Whether she was uncontracted or she was under a contract and she got broke or whatever. She was only there for a little while. They didn't really do much with her and she's gone. I don't want that for Mickie James. No full time. But this has to be understood. When it comes to Thunder Rosa, if she's seen on television, it will be probably by a show-by-show basis. In other words, a taping-by-taping basis. If she does 2 tapings in that day, she'll get paid for 2 days, if I'm right. Or 1 day, I don't know. She will make some recordings. She may do a little bit of storyline, and then she's gone. Or, if she is hired by Impact, she will have an open contract where she can go back to NWA, back to AEW, and do Impact Wrestling. But here's the thing. Would that cross-promotion help Impact Wrestling? No. Because you're not going to see footage of Thunder Rosa on AEW shown on Impact Wrestling. You're not going to see Thunder Rosa shown having a match on NWA on Impact Wrestling. They won't do it. And if anybody says, oh, they should do it, well, guess what? If that was true, how come the Good Brothers didn't get any film or video recordings of them in New Japan? We as Impact fans, and I'm making this clear to anyone, and please listen to me. Leave a comment and not just say, I can't wait to see her again. Listen. If an Impact star goes to another promotion, wouldn't it make sense if it's storyline driven? We should see it. The match itself and anything that would be connected to it afterward. They used to do this. Guess who they used to do it with? Pro Wrestling Noah. A minor promotion in Japan. You got New Japan Pro Wrestling. You got All Japan Pro Wrestling. If I'm just guessing if I'm right. Pro Wrestling Noah is like third. If I'm right, I'm not sure. There are over a dozen or more promotions in Japan. But you got New Japan, All Japan, and if I'm right, Pro Wrestling Noah is here. Third place or more. It is not the strongest promotion in the country with the Great Muta. Not. He started it and he worked hard to try and get his promotion. I commend him. But he doesn't have the strongest promotion there. But it might be third or fourth. As far as I know. I could be wrong. You guys can tell me below. But the point is, you saw like a Eddie Edwards go there and try to get the the honor title from the champion at the time. And he won it because we knew he won it because they showed it on Pro Wrestling Noah's television. They recorded it and let Impact show it. They made it important because our own star won the damn title, came back to Impact Wrestling, had a couple of matches defending it. Yes, after a certain amount of time, he lost the title, but it helped Impact in the long run because it worked into storyline. What do we have here? Moose went to Japan and also worked at Pro Wrestling Noah. We saw some footage of him working there. We saw him doing it with another wrestler. I think it was Tommy Dreamer at that time. I could be wrong. I can't remember. Either it was Tommy or it was RVD that went over to Pro Wrestling Noah, did some work there, and it helped storyline for Moose. We got to see it. This is what people don't understand. It makes no difference. You have a working contract with another promotion, a working partnership. What does that mean if we as fans can't see it? We don't see anything from AEW for us. Because if we had like Eddie Edwards going over there and working with Darby Allin, think about this. Eddie Edwards, a hardcore wrestler, working with Darby Allin, who is a nutty hardcore wrestler. Wouldn't you like to see that? Hell, wouldn't you like to see Tommy Dreamer, who was the guest referee for an Eddie and a Darby Allin match? Wouldn't you like to see that? Well, guess what? You're never going to see that shit. You know why? Because they won't show it. This is what I've been saying for months. And no one says, dude, we need more stars on Impact Wrestling instead of other WWE wrestlers. Dude, we should do more about Impact Wrestling. They're doing a slow burn. Dude, everything's going to be right. New Japan Pro Wrestling is going to bring it in. I've been hearing that for months. Months. People have been leaving comments like that. And where are we now? We had a great Slammiversary. No doubt it was great. But have we seen anything other than a few wrestlers from New Japan? That's it. Have we seen footage from New Japan with our own people there? No. Did we ever see FinJuice defend our titles as Impact Wrestling fans? Do we see them defend them in New Japan? No. Did we see the Good Brothers go to New Japan Pro Wrestling and represent Impact Wrestling? No. Did you see Eddie Edwards in the AEW? No. Did you see Rosemary on AEW? No. Did she go to see the Dark Order? Which would make sense because she's going through the Dark Realm. The Dark Order seems like there would be a group that would be from the Dark Realm. Wouldn't it be interesting to have her there along with Crazy Steve and Black Toru? No. We see shit on Impact Wrestling. If you're doing a partnership, I don't care if the partners say, we can't let you do that. Or you say, we don't need you. It is your fault for going into the partnership in the first place. I say it again. It is your damn fault as management to go and make a partnership with not just one promotion, but two promotions where the only time you've seen any footage, is in teasers for New Japan Pro Wrestling Only a few teasers when these guys come in. Or AEW, when you let them take your championship, have it with one of your most prominent stars, with two other wrestlers that have been known to work with him with New Japan, and that's all that goes over to AEW. The two stars that were already there, that had been working with the one that you brought from AEW to take your damn title. You see no one from Impact Wrestling. You don't see Sami Callihan end up in AEW. You don't see anything from Eddie Edwards. You don't see Moose except for that one-off of Moose being in Daly's place. One-off. And they covered up everything, so it wouldn't look like AEW. It's just Daly's place, and we knew it. And it's the worst stupid ass thing was you would not let JR or Tony Schiavone, or better yet, you would not let Excalibur call the damn match. Really? Fuck you, AEW or Impact Wrestling, for that stupid decision where if you're in a partnership, why not have your most senior commentator, JR, work with your most senior commentator, who he's worked with before, maybe a Josh Matthews, maybe, of course Matt Striker wasn't there. You could have D'Lo Brown work with a JR, or an Excalibur, or Tony Schiavone, or somebody. It had to be all Impact. What was the point of going to Daly's place if it was only about gelling Impact stars and dealing with the commentators there too? It felt like shit. Was it a bad match? Hell no. I knew Moose and I knew that Kenny Omega were going to have a great match. But in the end, going back to Thunder Rosa, we have no idea what's going to happen if she becomes a member of the Impact roster, or if she just does some tapings. Will we gain something if she goes back and forth? If she's in storyline, yes. But if she becomes an actual contracted worker for Impact Wrestling, will we see something of her going somewhere else? No. And that is a damn shame. But this is just my point of view. And I hope you enjoyed this Gump report. That's just a big ass rant. And I know there's some people, maybe if they see my video, and say, dude, why didn't you talk about W. Morrissey and Eddie Edwards, since you talk about Eddie Edwards here? Well, I don't want to talk about it because I want to see what's going to happen this Thursday. It was a great match. I liked it. Morrissey looked good, but he did destroy, but didn't win. That's the reason why I'm not saying anything. I want to see what they're going to do with him now. Morrissey, if I remember, lost to Eddie on a pay-per-view when they built him like a monster. So it's like, now what? I'm going to wait and see. That's why I didn't want to say anything, but I'm saying it now, so here you go. Peace.